We're going to tell him. We'll start with you. Jump in.
Well, hey, Dave, thanks for doing this. What can you tell us about how your pitching has looked since we last talked to you, and maybe tentative plans for next weekend?
We've been looking, the pitcher's been looking good. Obviously, we've got a lot of numbers. We've got a couple of guys that pitched on the weekend, so to speak, last year, and they're available. They're healthy. They're still battling to try to get in there. We've had, Zeb Vermillion has thrown really well. We might give him an opportunity to start next weekend. And Peyton Paulette has thrown real well. I think we're pretty sure, I would say as of now, unless something happens, he's going to get a start next weekend. We still have 2 more scrimmages this weekend. We're going inside. We had a scrimmage yesterday inside. We've got some guys that are going to throw before we make that last, maybe that last spot decision. So, we've got a really good experience in the middle of the bullpen and feel good about that. And I feel like that we've got a couple of guys lined up to finish out some games for us if we decide to start Vermillion.
The last few days, I'm sure, made you real happy to have the Fowler Center. Do you anticipate having to work through the start of the season inside?
Yeah, I don't feel like we're going to be outside again before we head. I think the next time we'll be outside will be, I guess, Thursday night when we get to practice in Arlington. And I guess we really won't be outside because we'll have the roof closed on us there. So let's hope they do anyway. I just want it to be a little warmer.
All right, thanks.
Andrew?
Yeah, Coach, when we talked to you after the Fall World Series, you had said that you were maybe concerned with Connor Nolan. He didn't have a couple of very good outings to end it. His velocity was down. How has he looked since coming back from the break? And I know you said he's competing for that last spot, but what kind of role could you foresee for him?
Well, he's looking a lot better. I think his command seems better. He threw pretty well his last outing. If he's not starting, I could see him in a long relief role. He has experience. He's got good stuff, and I think he's bouncing back.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, moving over to the lineup, are you feeling pretty comfortable about how you're going to fill out that lineup card on opening day, or do you still have a position battle or two that you're trying to decide on?
I feel real good about our lineup right now, and I could write you one up probably pretty close to what we're going to go with. And we've been using it a lot in this early part of practice and scrimmages, and trying to put more of the starters on the same team just so they would get a little bit of an idea of the lineup and maybe get comfortable with it and where they're hitting in the order. It's made for a couple of lopsided scrimmages, which is a good thing. If you load up 8 guys on one team, maybe 9, and you have a lot of the other guys on the other team, it's gotten out of hand a couple of times, but there's also been a couple of pretty good games. But there's a battle or two. There's a couple of guys, maybe one outfield position. It's still up in the air a little bit, but I probably have a guy that we're going to go with, but we'll see how that turns out. And then in the infield, kind of the same way. We know Goodhart is going to be in the lineup. The bat has been really good. Defense has been okay. Still a throwing issue a little bit. So then you take really Brady Slavin is battling for maybe a spot at first base with Cullen Smith. And realistically, I'd like to get both of those guys in the lineup at the same time. They both hit left-handed and they hit well. They both have power. I can always flip Cullen over to third if Nesbitt is, maybe not hitting well, but the defense from Nesbitt is just elite, really, at this level. So, he'll get the opportunity to start that first game for sure.
Bob?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good.
Who would be the guys you'd be looking at closing? You said if Zeb was starting, who would you maybe look at in those closing spots?
Probably Elijah Trest. He's throwing the ball real well right now. And he's a guy that I have a lot of confidence in. Spots his fastball well. He's 95, 96 miles an hour. About every pitch, his slider's better. It's got a little more depth this year. He's probably the one that we'd probably go to right away. We can close games now with maybe guys that aren't throwing the ball, 95 plus, but we've got 2 or 3 more that could. If you wanted to go with a young guy, you could put Jackson Wiggins in there. Got a really good arm, up to 97, 98 miles an hour already this, I guess we'll call it winter, January, February. Cops could do it. I feel like Ramage can close out games. They've both been really, really good this year. Cops has been super good and been fun to watch.
Cobb said the other day when we talked to him that, maybe in a normal year, you'd have 7 or 8, key pitchers you'd probably rely on. I assume he meant SEC weekend. But he said this year he thinks there's about 15. Would you agree with that? I guess how do you feel about your pitching depth overall?
Yeah, I'm feeling good about our depth. He's right on the numbers. I'm not saying that, more than 15 guys are going to get to pitch all the time, because a lot of times on the weekend you're not going to need that many. You're probably going to need 10, if you have a pretty good weekend. But there's another 5 or 6 guys, 7 guys probably that we have no problem putting them in the game. And I can't say that has ever happened here. I don't know if I've ever had that many pitchers that, we can put out there. But I think a lot of other teams are going to have the same issues. They're going to have a lot of depth, kept guys on both ends, didn't get drafted, didn't sign either out of high school or junior college, and they ended up on campus and then keeping the older kids in the program like we did. So I think you're going to see some really well-pitched games this year, and you'll see coaches probably going to the mound and getting guys maybe a little earlier than they have in the past because they know that they got enough guys to get through the weekend.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Matt?
Yeah, I can't remember a time when you've had to go in the Fowler Center for this long, this close to the season. What are your thoughts needing to be in there, for so long, and what are the primary limitations in there versus when you're outside?
Well, my thoughts are going in there. The first thought is, thank goodness we have it. We're very fortunate to have this type of indoor facilities. I know that a lot of teams have indoor facilities. They're not as big, or they have to use an indoor area that's used by many of the sports programs, whether it's football and soccer, and you go on and on and on, where they have to, wait their time a little bit. But my thoughts is that it's, but let me go back. The limitations are that your outfield doesn't get the work that it needs. Other than that, we can do most everything in there. We can play defense, we can pitch defense in the infield, and run the bases. We can play the game. With some of the technology that we have, it'll tell you how far you hit the ball and how fast it, jumped off the bat. And it's, it gets a little monotonous being inside all the time. But, I've coached in the Midwest, and sometimes it's what you got to do. I just think the players are going to just appreciate it even more when we get the opportunity to be out on a real, on a real ballpark, or in an area where you don't have to worry about the weather with that roof having the opportunity to be closed. And that's one reason I, wanted to get in this tournament, because I knew we were going to play unless something crazy happens.
I wanted to go back to what you said about Goodhart a minute ago. It sounds like, are you thinking about him at DH that first weekend?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think he, that's where he has been for us. He's gotten a lot better in the field, just that the arms up and down, and we'll see how that ends up though.
Kyle?
Hey, Coach, I was looking back at that statement you issued almost like 11 months ago to the day, and you said you were devastated for your team when the season ended so suddenly. Do you find yourself kind of thinking back to that as you get going here? And I know it's cliche, but gosh, kind of an appreciation for getting back out there when you think about that.
Yeah, I've seen it in the players' faces that, I mean, I saw it all fall. They just really appreciated the opportunity to be out there. You know, something was taken away from them. You know, just to be able to get it back and have the opportunity to play. And, you know, it was a tough time for everybody because it just kind of happened. It happened so fast. And, you know, you work hard to prepare and bang, it's over. And, you know, obviously no one got a chance to see what, you know, like Heston Kjerstad, what type of year he was going to have, or Casey Martin, some of these guys, because they were going to do some things. So I think our guys are just super excited to get this regular season going, and I think it'll make them feel a little more normal than we have for the last 10 or 11 months.
Kevin.
Hey, Coach, if the situation allows itself, with this being an athletic lineup, do you anticipate more stolen bases in the running game this year?
I think what I've told the players, we're gonna run when the other team's not paying attention. And, you know, there's some guys that can steal in your face when the other team knows you're going to steal and they're working quick to the plate, catchers on high alert. You know, we got a guy or two that can do that, but we've got some other guys that, you know, if the other team gets their guard down or they're slow to the plate, or like I said, they're not paying attention, we'll try to take advantage of that. I mean, are we going to steal 100 plus? We could. You know, we do have some athletes, some athletic guys that can run, but, you know, we have some athletic kids that can hit the ball out of the park as well and hit doubles. So I don't want to run us out of games or innings. It just has to be right. And, but I guess to answer your question, yeah, I think that we'll probably run a little more than we have in the past if the situation's the right situations. You know, last year with the pop and maybe the year before and the year before, we didn't need to run because I thought maybe there was a better chance hitting a home run or a double than there would be, you know, to try to steal that bag. So we just have to try to play it smart.
Clay.
Coach, you talked a lot, and so has Coach Hobbs, about the velocity of these guys. How have they been, this staff, on throwing strikes and pitchability?
Yeah, we have a lot of strike throwers, and you know, I love velocity. Why wouldn't you? Because it just makes all your other pitches better. They have to kind of cheat to get to the fastball, but I like guys who get people out. And I think anybody that's watched the game and been around this game knows that you've got to make the other team swing the bat. And but we have a lot of kids with pitchability, and that's a good baseball term there. I'm proud of you for that, Clay. And that's something we use here a lot. So, but we do have a lot of strike throwers, the guy that we can put out there and they can pitch. And, you know, some of the older guys, we've seen them do it a lot more than others. Example, you know, I guess when you say pitchability, Ramage has a lot of pitchability to me. He's a strike thrower and ball moves. We know what we're getting when we put him out on the mound. And Paulette is kind of the same guy. He's got a really good arm, but he throws it over the plate. You're going to have to swing. And, you know, that's a big part of getting people out is, you know, them knowing that you got 3 pitches you can throw around the plate. They're, you know, it's just such an advantage. But we also have guys who can go out there and throw it right by you as well.
Phil.
Hey, Coach, I saw where college baseball is going to do the same thing that international baseball does and that the majors did last year with extra inning games by placing a runner at second base to start the 10th inning. And I know you've coached in that sort of game before as the USA Baseball head coach. How does that change any strategy that you might utilize 10th inning and on?
Well, the way that works is that we have the option to do that. We have to agree on that.
Okay.
And I know in the SEC, we won't agree on that. We're going to play regular baseball unless there's a getaway time, you know, maybe charter plane or let's say commercial flight situation. I think that's when that will be agreed on before the game because of a time limit or something. But yeah, some leagues may just say, hey, that's what we're going to do. I know in the SEC, we've said we have the option to do it now. So it's very interesting. I mean, you put whoever made the last out, say in the ninth, out there you put them at second base, and you got to figure out if you just want to hit, you want to bunt, what do you want to do? And I guess there still will be some strategy because you don't go to the top of the order. If my 2-hole hitter made the last out and he goes to second base and I got 3, 4, and 5, I'm going to swing. If the other team's got number 8, 9, 1 coming up, maybe I just try to punch one in. You have to think about it a little bit, but I think it's a good option. I like regular baseball. I guess I only would really want to do it if kind of had to.
Last thing I had to ask about, and it's going to be so neat opening up the season in the home of the Texas Rangers where the World Series was played last year. What do you know about how that park plays? I remember major league players saying that it was really cavernous and home runs were a little tough to come by. What do you know about Globe Life Field?
Yeah, I've been told, looked around or made a couple of calls and talked to a couple of people that have been there that just said that, the center field's deep. You got to hit it pretty good to get it out in the alleys. You can get it out down the lines. It's a really nice ballpark. Heard a lot of great things about it. And, we'll have the opportunity to practice down there for a good hour plus. And we'll get a good feel for it, the dirt and the surface. Because, what I've been told is they have dirt, but they also have, field turf. It's a kind of a different kind. And I'm really interested to see how it plays. But also for our outfielders to see how the ball travels. And, you try to learn as much as you can, and everybody's in the same boat. So, but we're just extremely excited to get out of here and go play.
Got time for a couple more questions. We'll swing around to Andrew to start.
Yeah, Dave, I was wondering, a couple of times I've been out there during this preseason, Brady Slavin has looked okay at first base. How would you assess him defensively out there at first?
I think he's getting better. He had a really good day yesterday, and I even commented to the team. He made a couple of nice plays and made a nice play on a throw that was into the runner, and he caught the ball, and he used every bit of his height and his long arms to make that play over a runner. When you kind of compare him to Smith or even Goodhart, Smith is an experienced defender. He played third base every day as a freshman at I think it was East Tennessee, and then he played second base. So he's a good fielder. Brady's played a little bit of everywhere, in his baseball career, from little league shortstop to a third baseman to a right fielder. So, but he hasn't played a lot of first. He's played more second than he has first. So, but he's getting better, and that's all you can ask is for a guy to work and try to get better. And then also on his defense, as far as the defensive thing is that, he was trying to win that third base job. We were trying to give him every opportunity to play over there, or maybe even the second. And so now he's working full time at first. And so I've seen him getting better day to day. And, like I said, if you got maybe your 9 or 10 hitters, say 10 hitters you want to get in the lineup, you can't play them all. And so somebody's not going to get to play. It's like I tell the guys, it's a long season. You're all going to get to play, and so to speak, the cream's going to rise to the top anyway. We'll figure it out.
And then Dillon Leach was a guy that you said impressed you during the fall until he had a little bit of an injury. How's his arm doing? And would you say he's your backup catcher behind Opitz?
His arm's 100%, throwing the ball really well, throwing out some pretty good runners that have tried to run on him so far this year. And I would say he's our backup catcher right now.
Tom.
Dave, do you like opening against this caliber of competition right out of the gate? And what do you need to do better than you did in the Texas games last year?
Yeah, last year we played at home and got off to a good start. And we got down there, and honestly, we faced some pretty good pitchers here. We faced a young man I think went in the second or third round. maybe even a 5th rounder. But when we got down there, I mean, we faced a 1st rounder, and we actually had the lead when Oklahoma took him out. And then, you know, we let it slip away. We made some mistakes and got beat a couple runs. And then the Texas game, you know, game 2, I mean, they got out on us. We had a disastrous 2nd inning. I think they got out on us a couple of quick runs off of Wicklander, who did not throw good. He didn't get out of the 2nd inning. I think he only got 3 outs in the game. And, you know, we threw the ball around. Left fielder threw the ball over the cutoff man's head, and it goes over to the bullpen. And, I mean, it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. But we came fighting back and came within about 6 inches of tying the game up when Goodhart hit the ball off the yellow line. And we ran out of time. You know, we lose 8-7, 9-8, whatever it was. And then gets Baylor in game 3. I mean, we forgot to show up. Game was late. Maybe we were still feeling sorry for ourselves or what, but that was the most frustrating game for me personally, is that I just feel like we didn't show up. Baylor played really well, beat us 3-2, and we limped on out of there. And we got it together after that. So I guess to answer your question, what do we have to do better? We just need to play better. We just need to play solid baseball. I mean, you got 6 teams ranked in the top 10 in the D1 poll. That's 6 pretty good teams right out of the chute. And they'll expose you pretty quick, and you can find out what you need to work on. I mean, you know, I remember one year we went to Houston and we lost all 3 games down there. We went to Omaha. And I remember one year we went down there to the Minute Maid Classic. We won all 3 games and we didn't do anything. So sometimes you just have to go down there, try to get better, and figure out really what your weaknesses are. And when you play good teams, they'll expose them.
Final 2 questions here. We'll start with Bob and then go to Matt.
Hey, Dave, I was wondering if you talked to Benintendi since he got traded, and just what you thought about that. Maybe that'll be a good change of scenery for him after a tough season last year.
Yeah, I talked to Andrew the next day in the morning, and then in the afternoon we talked, and through texting different things. And he's excited to get back to the Midwest. I mean, that was kind of his words. He feels like it'd be a good fit for him. I've talked to the Royals about him before it all went down. I think with Gordon retiring, he's going to be a great fit in left field for them, and probably more of a top of the order hitter. And hopefully in the ballpark in Kansas City, he'll kind of go back to what he really is, and that's a line drive guy that sprays it all over the field. And I hope it turns out really well for everybody involved.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
Matt, finish us off.
Bob took half of my question. The other half, Dave, was how does it help you recruiting Kansas City, do you think, having someone of that caliber playing for the Royals?
I think it's definitely going to help some. You know, we've done an extremely good job in Kansas City the last 10 years. You go back to Ryan Stanek and all the way to Christian Franklin, and we've got 3 or 4 kids coming in this year that are from the area, and then the next 2 or 3 classes down the road, we've already got a couple kids committed in each class, and we're working on a couple more. But having a former Arkansas Razorback, Golden Spike winner, playing, you know, 3.5, 4 hours right up the road from us, I think it should help us. And I'm sure it'll get brought up in the media up there that he was a Razorback, and maybe that, you know, the GM of the Royals' son's playing for the Razorbacks now and will be playing for us next year. And it's going to be a good pick out of here down the road because he deserves it. It'll probably all tie in.
Thanks for the time, Coach.